Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law through this channel. I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with a return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, we do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. In today's video, we're going to be looking at MMTLP, a new groundbreaking DD, looking at how the actual symbol was created, and we're also going to be looking at MMAT metamaterials, currently known as MMATQ, and details about how to make your claim in the bankruptcy course. There is a deadline for that as well, and then we're going to do a stock update on ticker symbol APLD, which was a huge call this week and had a great week also, up quite significantly, and there is also news of a catalyst upcoming, so stay tuned for that. So before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the market. So first headline here from investing.com, we can see that traders are now seeing the Fed delivering another 50 BPS rate cut in November. I think that is a strong possibility, and we have seen a good bounce in the market so far. And from the Wall Street Journal, we can see stocks are riding high on the easy policy, and there is also good news with regard to China stocks, which have also significantly benefited from that. So let's now have a look at in terms of earnings this week. So not a great week for earnings, but there are some important stocks that we will be looking at. These include Carnival, Nike, Levi's, Lamb Weston, amongst some of the others. And finally, shout out here to Quiver Quantitative, who's talking about Representative Darrell Issa. He has violated the Stock Act with up to $175 million worth of treasury bills. They were all discovered over a year past the deadline, so it's possible right now that he could be fined a few $100s. So I'm going to start by sharing with you details of a notice sent to shareholders of MMAT, previously known as and currently known as MMATQ. This is with regard to the bankruptcy and staking your claim and proof of interest. So first of all, this is not to be used to make a claim against the debtor for money owed. That will be separately done. This is going to be a claim with regard to to assert your interest for equity interest in the debtor. So an equity interest is any right arising from capital stock, so that would be MMAT shares in of that was previously known as, and any equity security in any of the debtor. So an equity security obviously is defined in the bankruptcy code as a share in the corporation, whether or not transferable or denominated stock or similar securities. So that's the detail. So with regard to deadlines, so your key deadline that you need to be aware of to make this claim is going to be December the 18th 2024, and you will then be forever barred from making future claims. So it is important to be aware of that, and obviously this will then be the end of any matters related to MMAT. And just one other thing I'd like to share with you here is a post from Roger Hamilton, who stated here, worked the last 10 years without a break, then he takes one honeymoon and see what happens. So from Filing Tracker, there was a post here stating that with regard to GNS, there was an attempt to usurp the CEO's position. This was made illegally and action has been taken against the people responsible. So it looks like they wanted to get rid of Roger Hamilton, but in this case, they were unsuccessful, and that was only because he decided to take a honeymoon. So an interesting post from Bradley here, and he stated that the same thing happened in MMAT. The board, controlled by the shorts, kicked out George Palikaros and then drove the company to zero, and that is why we currently have the situation with bankruptcy. So the same thing was attempted potentially with GNS, but so far not successful. So certainly the CEOs out there need to be very careful. So have a look at the next update from Scott, and what he posted earlier is that FINRA is filing to stop any discovery in the Scott versus Ari Rubinstein case after FINRA refused a Monty Hall day yesterday, where Scott stated that he would agree to stop all discovery efforts if FINRA provided under seal to the court the 5th of December 2022 blue sheets pulled by Sam Three Monkeys Draddy. I think that's a good name. And at the end of the day, with regard to the data for up to the 8th of December 2020 to 4 p.m. Eastern time in terms of the blue sheets, and they would not agree. The court just told yours truly, i.e. Scott, and the other 10 lawyers to agree on a discovery schedule. It's by local rule, and this is, from his opinion, a good sign, so that's positive. And now he gets to speak to all 10 lawyers, and some of them are already hating his guts. So he's okay with them hating his guts. So what Scott is doing is fighting dirty, he's fighting hard, and he's telling the truth like they probably never heard before. So in the attached letter here, dated September the 26th, 2024, we can see here, addressed to the council, the discovery schedule required by local rule has not been filed. Please be advised, if the discovery schedule is not filed within the proper deadline, this case will be set for a scheduling conference. In terms of a catch up from the previous video, shout out here to Scott Social Watch, who have posted with regard to the case, the video where I talks about FINRA stating that invested for a short squeeze in MMTLP. So we did answer this question in the previous video, and go ahead and check that out. But the key thing is investing for a short squeeze, so long as you're not involved in market manipulation, is not illegal and it is not wrong. So what Social Watch has stated is regulators have never said a word about the legal obligations with regard to the brokers, and have to, in terms of them having to deliver our property. That is the very first job. Just prove there is no oversold situation. So he does agree with that post. Now have a look at a summary of the latest groundbreaking DD with regard to the creation of MMTLP. So shout out here to Elf and many of the others in the DD team with regard to the research behind this. So let's have a look at the post, and what she stated here is, how did an internal dummy instrument lead to the MMTLP shares being traded in foreign markets? So this story is quite wild. It's looking at manual data entries, errors and questionable trades. So the whole thing started apparently on June the 17th, 2021, and at that time there was a data scientist who manually created an internal instrument for Torchlight's preferred share on OpenFigi. So the ticker there is 1896724D, and Figi number there is also as seen on the screen, but there was a mistake. It was created as an equity, not a preferred share, so that's quite important. And then obviously we have a Bloomberg screenshot confirming that this is contradicting itself. So again, go ahead and check that out. And then in the follow-up post, she goes on to say that OpenFigi has stated that 1896724D was a dummy instrument, never meant for public use. Then it was actually assigned an official ISIN number, and instead of creating a new instrument, and then on June the 28th, 2021, after the TRCH MMAT merger, the ISIN number was swapped out and replaced by another one, and then this was known as MMTLP. So OpenFigi has been cited as a name change and the corporate action as the reason for the identifier swap. However, OpenFigi seems to be adamant that this ticker MMTLP at that time is only for internal use. So there was more development. So she goes on to say here, back to the preferred share, and we have the same number there. Despite OpenFigi saying that this was a dummy instrument, it still had a necessary identifier for trading. So some serious errors here with regard to the stock market features when issued classifications for instruments, and they allow instruments to get a Figi assigned that after they have been announced but before the company issues them. So TradeGate Exchange allows the trading of when issued instruments in its regulated unofficial market, but doesn't allow the issuer's approval. It only requires a specialist. And then in the next post, which I think is a bit more interesting, why do you think the holders of this number issuers debt are the holders of MMTLP? Was the October the 6th to the 13th creation of MMTLP truly the preferred share, or was it not meant to be? So the answers are all going to be in the blue sheets. That is why FINRA are adamant not to provide these, and they are spending tens of millions of dollars making sure that that is does not become public information. So for every entity fund that was listed in any form of identifier for these numbers and MMTLP on the SEC filings, we would need the blue sheets. We haven't even got into the errors from the clearing firms, which is another story. So for example, why does Brown Brothers Harriman hold 400,000 shares of MMTLP as a broker when the subsidiary they listed lost its FINRA broker status many years ago? And again, a very important and huge question there for FINRA, which I'm sure they will not address. And I think to finish off here, we have the image here with regard to October the 12th 2021, and the subject is adjusted metamaterials further adjustment, option symbol MMAT1 settlement update. And in the post here she goes on to say this is the infamous moment. The OTC listing of the preferred share was obviously known to most of us. The requirements to note for the OTC eligibility was to have proprietary price quotations published by at least one market maker. So I'm sure many of you know the market makers that we suspect. On October the 6th 2021, MMTLP began trading on the US OTC with broker-to-broker settlement only at that time, and the CEOs John Berda and Padakaros, neither of them were aware of this preferred share spin-off, and it was going to be listed on the OTC exchange. 6 days later, October the 12th 2021, MMTLP suddenly became eligible for NSCC settlement through CNS, and the next day, October the 13th, MMTLP is actually created. So that's like a bit quick snippet of the story there and the post. So go ahead and check that out. Have a look at the images and the screenshots. It certainly is groundbreaking in my opinion. So reaction here from Brenda stated MMTLP is a crime scene perpetuated by FINRA fraud. Short positions did not have to cover. 2 days of trading rights were stolen. So again, very true words there. And what Marcos has stated here, do the broker liability QSIPs have figure numbers for different countries too? So again, important question. And are these numbers being traded right now? So again, these are questions which I think FINRA will run away from very, very quickly. Let's finish off by having an update on ticker symbol APLD, also known as Applied Digital. So this is a stock that was called out in our previous week's weekly watch list with regard to news of additional $160 million funding, and the news shared in the previous week's weekly watch list was with regard to Nvidia and other investors backing Applied Digital with $160 million funding. So that was the news. The stock was up a very healthy 34% on the week, so congratulations to everybody who made profit. And in our new live trading and alert section, we also got news with regard to breaking news in terms of unusual options on APLD, and also predictions in terms of the stock going up from Reddit sources live as well. So the other key date that I'd like to share with you is with regards to the earnings. So these have now been shared. We're looking at October the 9th 2024, 5 p.m. Eastern time, so keep an eye on that. Again, it is a high risk, high reward stock. And then again, in terms of other news updated that we've also shared, and that is with regard to the investor presentation. So this has now been updated on the official website, and it is providing valuable insights for current and potential investors. So go ahead and check out the investor presentation there. And finally, quick shout out to the weekly watch list. So APLD, again, that was the best call, up 34.3% on the week. We also looked at LUNR, and that was up 7% on the week. MU Micron, we called that for earnings, and also featured in the previous video, up 16% on the week. So congratulations to everybody who got into Micron. Oklo up 4.3% on the week. TSM up 1.8% on the week. AENT, again, stronger finish on Friday, up 8.8% on the week than on the Friday, but also level on the week. CEG, that was also level on the week. OMIC was up 13% Monday to Tuesday before closing down 4.6% on the week. So not all calls are successful. You would like to get the next weekly watch list. Details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.